All right, welcome back to another episode of Two Plain Sports, uh, an added show for the regular season. Here moving forward, I guess no, just kidding. Today's Monday. It's Labor Day. So today's Tuesday's video. Today we're gonna go over post game stuff, what we liked during the Temple game, didn't like, and then we're gonna talk about games around the college football world that we thought had some interesting outcomes, especially for some of the hype for some of these teams that we'll be talking about coming into the season. Um, Moving forward, we will be adding a show Sundays, starting next Sunday, more 10 a.m. We will be live streaming, doing a reaction show about all the games from Saturday, including Oklahoma. We'll still do a little bit of a deeper dive video that will be shorter on Monday, so it's easier for people that just want to listen to about Oklahoma stuff on for the Tuesday episode, and then pre-game stuff for Friday episode. So
And that show's going to
Tuesday,
the
what?
14th, right? Or the
Yeah,
15th?
I don't. Wait,
Sunday.
what? Whatever Sunday is next week.
Like after the Houston game?
Yes, after the Houston game.
Okay.
Yes. Sunday, live stream, then regularly scheduled Tuesday, Friday show. Make sure to turn on notification bells. As you can tell, this was something that we decided about 30 minutes ago when we were doing our pre-show conversation. So we'll mention it again in the next video with a little bit clearer situation. So let's get into the video. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the whole spiel. Oklahoma played Temple, season opener. Big win, because good teams win, great teams cover. Oklahoma managed to cover the spread here, and I think it ended at 42. You remember the spread better than I do for this game.
When I got in on it, but I don't know if it shifted because I was in at 43, and that was what I had to cover.
So covered. The offense was interesting because it's not, for as many points as were scored, it's not like the offense had like a huge game statistically. Brandon, I'll move it over to you because I've been saying a lot of words here. What did you like about what you saw, not just on the offense, but on this team as a whole?
I mean, I think you definitely got to. I think what everyone takes away is, and again, it's a Temple team, right? So it's not a great team. I talked about in our preview video. These games are kind of the worst because I don't think there's a way Oklahoma really wins this game. Because I mean, we won 51-3, cover the spread, everything, right? And you still have fans on Twitter that are panic buttoning right now because it wasn't absolutely perfect. And you know what? It's the first game of the season. It's never going to be perfect. It's impossible. But that being said, you had, I think, 8 or 9 sacks, obviously 6 turnovers as a defense. That is off the page ridiculous. Could have been 7 turnovers. Billy Bowman came really dangerously close to making an incredible interception where he's flipping over himself, and that actually led to Temple's only points of the game. They got back-to-back sacks. Billy Bowman on third down almost comes down with that ridiculous interception. Play after that, they kick a field goal. That's the only points they get. So, I mean, defensively, and again, weak opponent, you look fantastic. I think Jackson Arnold in a very limited attack style for the offense. They even mentioned that they're not going to show their full offense against a team like Temple because you're beating them 37-0 at halftime or something. It's a game that was never competitive as much as Oklahoma fans want to complain about the offense and not being great. I think with what we saw from Jackson, obviously 3 great touchdown passes to Deion Burks. I thought his first touchdown pass of the game where he floated the ball to Bauer Sharp kind of on the roll was another great pass. Was beautiful. His first pass of the game, he's about to get sacked and puts the ball, right on the money to Jalil Farouk. That's about as pretty as a ball as you'll see. I was in stride with the guy right in his face. Obviously, losing Jalil Farouk sucks. We'll go into that later. The offensive line was the question mark for everybody. I think that question mark still remains, right? You lose Branson Hickman, which sucks because I thought he looked pretty good, actually, out there at center. The run game from the starters, I don't think he loved that either. Gavin Sawchuk finished with 15 yards. He only carried the ball 6 times, so he could have got it going. I think it is what it is right now. I think the offensive line question mark still remains, but that's something I'm okay with because it's a Bill Bedenbaugh coach team. It's going to at least be, it's going to be decent. It just will be, and you still have 2 weeks to figure it out. So No reason to hit the panic button, especially when you look around the country and Oregon is escaping Idaho when Michigan, the defending national champions, is in a one-score game with Fresno State. If Oklahoma plays Idaho the way Oregon did, this entire fan base is just in shambles right now. We're all panicking. We're on unalive watch. We're freaking out, and that's because we're freaking out about a team that wins 51-3, and it could be worse, is what I'm saying.
It definitely could have been, and some of the results around the country, like you mentioned, the Oregon one, makes you put things a little bit more into perspective because Oklahoma, you come in and you have question marks, and the glaring one, and you mentioned it, is the offensive line. It's still there, outside of losing Hickman, which does suck, but it's not like we lost him forever to ankle sprain, so should be back, hopefully by Tennessee. He can get healed up enough, if not completely healed up, so he's ready to go then. Jadu come back with Jake Taylor this week, is expected to play at right tackle after a very bad performance from Michigan State transfer Spencer Brown. He is not what we thought he was gonna be when he entered the portal, and then when Oklahoma secured him, it was reported, and we talked about it here as well. Like, he was expected to be a very talented and someone that could immediately contribute to the offensive line. I think that is no longer the case after last week's game. He was getting beat quite a bit, seemed to be easily pushed around, and I'm not going to pretend like I know why that was happening. Maybe it was at Michigan State. He did a little bit more run blocking, and the pass blocking just it's not there yet with his footwork. But someone else that likes to be a coach on the internet can tell you more about that. At the end of the day, the results and what we all saw is that he got beat a lot. The Tarquin was getting beat occasionally. I wouldn't say that he looked amazing either. So we'll see what kind of rotation there is for the offensive line going into the Houston game. I'm sure we'll get another unofficial early week depth chart in the coming days. If not, it's already out by the time this video is released. So we'll talk about that more for the Friday video once that comes out. And then defense. The defensive line was the most exciting thing about this team and this game, because they were able to create pressure, and that's what they are supposed to do against a team like Temple, which isn't something that they did last year in their early season games. They weren't creating that type of pressure, and they weren't getting to the quarterback consistently. Now you end week one with 6 sacks. Grayson Halton looked great. I think really everyone on the defensive line had a great game. You can put any name out there and say he looked good, while if it wasn't getting to the quarterback and actually getting the statistic for a sack, most of these guys, if not all of them, were in the backfield creating quarterback pressure, helping get tackles for loss. Every linebacker that was out there, I think, looked pretty good. It was apparent that Jaron has gone down a couple spots over camp. We saw Kip Lewis out there. We saw Masigo out there. We saw Kobe McKenzie out there as well.
Lewis Carter a little bit. Yeah, I think we saw a little bit
Lewis
there.
Carter.
Yeah.
James Anesta got out there towards the end. Jaron Koenig did get more time than him, so maybe Jaron can get in the mix. He was there for the scoop and score towards the end of the game. So maybe it's still a work in progress for him. We'll see how his season progresses. And then the defensive backs, the one that stood out the most for me, and I think you mentioned him in our preseason preseason preview, and someone that could be an X factor. And I know you and I have talked about this as well off of the podcast, is Kendall Dolby. That guy makes plays in the backfield. He makes plays in coverage, and I know you said it last time, and you said it again this weekend when we were rewatching the game. He is good, not great at the corner spot. He's he's definitely undersized, being a linebacker, and probably good, not great. But this cheetah position, for whatever reason, is his perfect fit. He's maybe someone that can go onto the NFL as a nickel, but might still need a little bit of polishing there for what they need in the NFL. For the college level, with Brent Venables and Zach Alley as his defensive coordinators, he is in the perfect spot in the play that's I'm sure it stands out to everyone is the tip drill that he initiated where he was pissed because he thought the ball just landed on the ground, but he executed perfectly and his teammate Kanai Walker was there to complete it, grab the interception, got a few yards after that before going down. And those are the kind of things that you're going to need heading into the SEC is having that football IQ, understanding like, hey, if I'm competing for this ball, don't just swat it down. Let's see if we can make a play on this. If it's not me, my teammates are going to be there to hopefully, be in the right spot to come in and grab that pick.
Yeah, no, I was definitely going to mention Kendall Dolby as a guy. Yeah, I mean, he's that cheetah spot is designed for a guy like him. I think we saw it last year, kind of towards the latter half of the season, where he really got thrown in there and looked good. And he's carrying over. And again, it's Temple, right? So it's take it for what it is. As Temple's a very bad team, but he looked electric. Yeah, he had that pass breakup. Probably the funniest clip of the whole game was him just over there being irate, even though he had a pick because he's just unaware. It's gold. He also has a sack in that game. He's the one non-defensive lineman who has a sack from that game, just coming off the edge there and getting to the quarterback. He just fits right in. He's so instinctive. He just has a knack for being around the ball and making plays. And I hope he's going to continue doing that all season. I don't see any reason why he won't. You got to see a little bit defensively out of guys like Jaden Jackson. He's not going to pop off the box score at you, but he's making plays. I think they ran a screen or something. He's the guy who tackled the receiver after an 8-yard gain. He went there and ran him down. Just high motor, just a guy that's just going to not quit on a play. David Stone got in there, had a couple tackles as well. Just the defensive line, just overall. I think Marcus Strong had 2 sacks. A very, very strong showing from almost everybody on that defensive line. Linebackers look fantastic. DBs look fantastic. And then, because we mentioned Gavin Sacha, who had a little bit of a struggle in that first game, only 15 yards on the ground. I don't think anybody would have pegged that for his line going into this game, but I guess that's why they play the games. I think you saw a lot out of Taylor Tatum. And how much of that is the score is 44-3 at this point? Has Temple let off the gas? Are they trying less hard, or is Taylor Tatum just that explosive? I think it could be a little bit of both. I think Taylor Tatum, regardless of the opponent there or how bad the score was or whatever, looked good enough to earn himself some snaps, going forward into the season. I think Javonte Barnes at times looked really explosive. There was a play that we highlighted, and I can't remember exactly when it happened. I think it was second quarter, where we're driving the ball into Temple territory, and a Temple D lineman shoots through pretty much untouched, and he kind of shook him out of his shoes and made another guy miss and grabs the first down for us. So, I think Javonte Barnes showed a little bit of flash there as a guy that you probably might need, going into the season. Sam Franklin got to carry the ball a little bit. What else? I think, we did see Bill Bedenbaugh doing Bill Bedenbaugh stuff in that first game, because later in the game, and this is, again, probably protecting the starters maybe, or maybe a tryout at the end of the day, because you got Josh Bates, and I think Pierre Louis played too a little bit there, and he's a guy that there's no reason why he can't have a Caden Green-like impact if this offensive line is not playing up to standard. Cause that's kind of happened last year in the Texas game. The line wasn't doing everything we needed to when Caden Green steps in. It looks fantastic, and I think EPL is a guy that has that potential this season, just because I don't think anybody on that offensive front really solidified themselves as the day in, day out starter after that game. So, there's no reason for him not to go earn himself an opportunity.
Yeah. And then we also saw, other guys. Jacoby Johnson got a good amount of run in this game, and I think he played well. No, I mentioned Grayson Halton, but I just pulled up the box score to get the full stat line. He had a sack and a half and 1.5 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
He had a good game
And
of his own. Yep. And then, so then you got the fumbles. So we recovered 4 fumbles, one from Dejon Terry, another one by Billy Bowman, Robert Spears Jennings, and then Jaron Canick's the one that he took back. And then another guy that I don't know if he's getting highlighted enough, because the receiving threat that everyone is excited about and is getting all the praise right now is Deion Burks, and it's well deserved. Guy scored 3 touchdowns all in the first half. He did what he needed to do, executed. He seemed to be a big, if not main target for Jackson Arnold in the red zone. But Bauer Sharp finished with 5 receptions, 47 yards, and a touchdown. We might actually have a tight end. Like
Yeah.
the first real, and again, it's just one sample in a Temple game. We'll see what he looks like over the next couple of games. With hopefully this offense gets a little bit more opened up. We see more plays downfield, more of a mix, right? Because it seemed that this was definitely a run heavy game for this offense. But if he continues to be a pivotal part, this is to this offense. This is probably the first tight end that gets played as a tight end since Mark Andrews. I know everyone's going to say, well, we had Braden Willis. Well, Braden Willis was not Mark Andrews. Yes, he was good, and we all loved him, but he also got played a lot of H-back. He was wildcat quarterback for us that year. So he's a beloved Sooner, but I don't think with the trajectory that I think Bauer Sharp has for the season, Bauer's going to be a better tight end in this first year at Oklahoma than Braden Willis was in his last year at Oklahoma.
That's another thing we mentioned in our first game or multiple times throughout the offseason in this recap is you kind of figured that the tight end is going to be more involved in the offense with Joe John being a co-OC. He's going to try to give his guys some more looks and stuff like that. And we don't know if it'd be Jake Roberts or Bauer Sharp. It clearly appears as if Bauer Sharp is going to be tight end one this season. Caden Helms got a little bit of run. Didn't do much, I don't think. I think he had a target. So, but
Jake Roberts was out there as well.
I was out there a little bit, but I mean, it does appear to be like it's the Bauer Sharp show, at least for the most part. We'll see how it goes. At the end of the day, it's a 51-3 win. Like you said, good teams win, great teams cover. Oklahoma covered. As much as we are worried about the offensive line at the end of the day, look at the box score. And again, it's Temple, but you have 220 yards on the ground rushing and average 6 yards a carry. You'll take that every single week, even as impressive as it looked, to the naked eye. The box score doesn't lie. It's the numbers are numbers, and 220 on 6 yards of carry is very good. I think Mike Hawkins showed a lot of flash as a guy that he's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a quarterback by committee type system, but almost similar to what we did last year with Dylan Gabriel and then Jackson Arnold sprinkled in every now and again. I think Hawkins is going to get himself a little bit of run in some games. Overall, maybe like a B performance, right? Because I think an A would have been no points scored because it is Temple. But it's I think you'll always take a 51-3, especially when you hear the offense is playing at maybe half the playbook or even less than half the playbook. And I don't expect them to show a lot against Houston either, to be honest with you. I think, after watching Houston play and lose by 20 to UNLV, only score the ball one time, it should be a similar looking outcome, I think. Maybe 45-10 or some shit, I don't know. But I don't think we're really going to see – and that's why I want everybody to stop hitting panic buttons right now, because you covered. You win by 48 points. Yeah, the box score on the rushing game looks impressive. Jackson Arnold only had 8 incomplete passes, and I think 3 or 4 of those were draw passes, so he really should have been 21 out of 25 or something like that. You are worried a little bit about Jalil Farouk. I mean, that's a huge loss for 6 to 8 weeks. A guy like Andrew Anthony is going to have to play like Andrew Anthony was playing last season. We saw a little bit of runs from Ivan Korean, a little bit of runs from Zion Raggins. Petaway had a target. One of those guys there's a chance now. Hester dropped a couple passes, but there's a chance. Somebody's got to fill in for that Jalil Farouk role for the foreseeable future. It's going to be interesting to see who takes that, and runs with it. But overall, I'm not disappointed. You're never going to see me on this program talking bad or being upset with the 51-3 win, winning which you cover. No reason to panic yet.
Agreed. And you still don't have Nick Anderson back. He was held out of this game for injury. Deion is going to be there. So you have your top 3 wide receivers. It's, again, kind of the same conversation we were having when Jaden Gibson got hurt. He's going to be 4 and 5. He's going to be those guys that when your top 3 need a break, for whatever reason, maybe they tweak their ankle or, are dealing with cramps for a couple of plays, who's going to be the guy that slides in there. I think there's also a chance we see a lot more two tight end situation stuff. But it's something that this offense, brand new, like one game, and it seemed to be really limited. Coaches said that after the game, extremely limited. And it was by design. It seemed like they wanted to do a lot more situational, real game stuff that they're going to deal with later on in much closer games. So why not practice? It sounds disrespectful to Temple, but practice in this spot where you're comfortable with the fact that you're going to win. You already have a big lead. You can open it up later on. If something bad were to happen, you can open up the playbook and start scoring more points. So I agree with your grade. I would say mine is like a B minus, C plus, just because the third quarter was also really bad. They did not do well.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, every goal that this team has, put in place before the season, it's still right in front of them. We didn't see anything that would think we can't do that. In my opinion, I think it's still, this team can still do as much as they want. It's just shore up some of the little things. You got to find a solidified offensive line in 3 weeks. So it gives you a little bit of time to do it. You want to find that 4 or 5 receivers. You have time to do it. And then just go out there and play ball, because that defense is going to be that defense, I think, this entire season. I think they're going to be very good.
Definitely. And
you're muted. Yeah.
Last thing I want to mention here for us, and something that we haven't even talked about or scratched on, is we finally have a kicker. We had Keltner hit a 50-yarder, a 42-yarder, a 27, went 3 for 3, was perfect in extra points. I'm not here to go backwards in time, but we have someone that can hit a longer field goal, which is going to be extremely important in close games. You saw it around the country this weekend already, especially in that USC LSU game, how important it is to have a kicker that can make one for you. We can talk about that game a little bit later, but we don't have to worry about that potentially after week 1. We'll see how he goes in week 2, but I think we can get a little bit excited about that position being more secured by Keltner for this season.
I think seeing him hit a 50-yarder is just a huge sigh of relief for everybody. And even seeing him hit the chip shot is a big sigh of relief, because we definitely saw a couple kicks that are considered chip shots missed last season. So, it's definitely refreshing to see a kicker go perfect. So, yeah, that's great stuff. Jackson Arnold had a great punt. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but he had a beauty of a punt. I hope Jackson Arnold is not punting very much this season, but he can do it. He had a good one. He pinned him down inside the 10, I think. So that's fun. But that's all I got for the game. Good win. And if you don't, just do a quick recap around the country. Just, I think Georgia, obviously, I think is the best team in the country, and they definitely showed that. I don't think Clemson is a top 10 program by any means. I don't think they're bad. I think they're a top 15, 20 program, and they just absolutely dismantled them. Georgia's going to Georgia. Texas, as much as we don't like them, they play Colorado State, so not a great team either, but they look great, winning 52-0. South Carolina on the other side, our SEC friends now, terrible. I mean, just bad. Very lucky to escape Old Dominion. They scored 2 touchdowns because Old Dominion fumbled inside their own 10. That was only 2 touchdowns of the game. Oregon obviously is the big one. I think Oregon podcasts right now across the country are probably a little bit more worried than we are, and they should be after that first outing, because it's not even like, I think Dylan Gabriel still passed the ball for almost 400 yards. Offensively, he had it going on the stat sheet. But that was a 17-14 game with like 7 minutes left. And then Oregon actually went for it on 4th and 2 instead of kicking a field goal with like 3 minutes left in the game. They scored a touchdown there to make it 24-14. But pretend they don't get that 4th and 2, and it's 17-14, and Idaho has a chance to win this game or at least force overtime. or even if they decide to kick the field goal and make it 2014, give the ball back to Idaho with a chance to score a touchdown and win it. Idaho was in that game to the very end, and that's a very bad football team in Idaho too. So yeah, it could be a lot worse for Oklahoma fans, but Georgia is Georgia. Texas looked good. Oregon looked pretty bad, I think. I think Michigan, as the defending national champions, didn't look very good either. That's a competitive game late in the fourth quarter, and they kind of get 2 touchdowns late to make it look uglier. As much as I don't want to say this, I think Texas is going to rout them next week. We'll see. Those are the big ones. I mean, Florida State's playing right now. I bet you they're going to be in for another barn burner.
Well, and the big one from Sunday, the LSU USC game, that one was very interesting because when we did our SEC position group preview, we talked about how LSU's brought back probably one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in the country. And when it came to pass protection, they did look good. I mean, Nussmeier was relatively clean throughout the night. He went 29 for 38, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. For his first start, not a terrible outing. A lot of it was more shorter routes. He didn't Lacey, Kyron Lacey seemed to be really his main target, and it worked out for him. Kyron Lacey ended up getting a touchdown, the first touchdown of the game. Probably shouldn't be doing that. Dumbass celebration right in front of the ref. If you're gonna do it, make sure someone can hide you from getting caught, so you don't get a flag there, and then give Zachariah Branch a chance to return a kick. That kid is, as much as some people may hate USC, that kid is fun to watch in the return game because it seems like every time he gets any little bit of space, he's got a real shot at returning it for a touchdown. And then USC was able to make the LSU run game basically non-existent. They had one guy get a 39-yard run, but if it wasn't, and it was John Emery Jr., if he didn't get that 39-yard run, he would have been 9 for 22 yards. So that entire team could not run the ball against USC, which is surprising because USC couldn't stop the run a year ago, and now they just held an LSU team, a very questionable LSU team, in my opinion, to 117 yards as a team, and they average 4.9 yards a carry. And again, if that guy doesn't get a 39-yard run, it looks a lot uglier on the box score.
I don't want to bring that game up because I actually thought USC looked pretty good, and I'm not going to say good things about them on this program. But I do think, LSU's up 20-13 in that game, and I think they get 3 stops in a row, late third and fourth quarter moments in the game, and they, for whatever reason, did nothing. And then you see Brian Kelly pissed off in the postgame because there was a big play on fourth down in the fourth quarter, but they still had a touchdown lead. I think there were 7 or 8 minutes left. And the guy almost gets an interception that he probably runs back. Either way, they get a turnover on downs, borderline midfield, do nothing. But, I mean, at that moment in time, I think Brian Kelly said in the postgame, for whatever reason, LSU's acting like they already won the game. And it came back to bite them in the ass. And then I think they had the worst 2-minute drill defense I've ever seen. In a long time. Just terrible 2-minute, especially when USC has a penalty, like a false start or something, 2nd and 15, and maybe a minute on the clock. I was like, all right, this is their chance. This is where you get off the field. This is where you force overtime, play on. And they leave a dude wide open down the sideline, and he gets the ball for the first down already and then targeting. Game's over. I mean, they could run it out and kick a field goal there, and they ended up running in for a touchdown because that was the worst 2-minute drill I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it was something. Well, I think at the end of the year, we're going to look back at this game and see that it was 2 very middle of the road teams that are going to be 7-5, 8-4, maybe 9-3 if they can come up with a win they shouldn't have, and neither will be competing for a playoff spot. Good game. Just I don't think these teams are exactly what anyone thought they were going to be. USC's defense is a little bit better, but LSU also did not look good in the spots where they needed to, like you said.
I I'd agree.
I think that's it. I don't think we have anything more here for this show. Good game for Oklahoma. A lot of interesting stuff around the country that helps us put this Oklahoma game in better perspective when you look at the national results. Now going to Houston, or focusing on Houston, another home game, night game, uh, and they're wearing their new throwback jersey, so it's going to be a fun game to watch. Hopefully the offense looks a little bit more explosive, but we'll talk about that later in the week. For now, hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the comment section. Let us know what you thought about the OU game, what you liked, didn't like. I'm sure some other people are going to have concerns about the offensive line. We love to hear your thoughts. Make sure to hit the comment section with those, as well as anything that you want to mention about the games that went on around the country, because we definitely did not have the time to watch every single game. We got to see a lot of them, but we were pretty busy with a friend's wedding over the weekend, so we didn't get to do to watch every game like we typically would on a normal weekend. So let us know what you thought. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. As I mentioned at the top of the show, while it was maybe a little confusing, starting next Sunday, we will be doing a live stream 10 a.m. to do a reaction show on the OU game, as well as games around the country. Still have a Tuesday video to do a little bit more in-depth recap of the Oklahoma game, go over like individual player stats and performances, and then Friday, game preview. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you know when we're going live and posting a new video every single week. We appreciate you all watching, and we'll see you next time.